between the
We are
not developing biological or chemical weapons inside Ukraine. It's not happening.
Does Ukraine have chemical or biological weapons?
Ukraine has biological research facilities.
You know, in the words of my Irish Catholic grandfather, a bunch of malarkey. There's nothing to it. It's classic Russian propaganda.
We once again urge the US to provide full clarification of its biomilitarization activities within and outside its borders and accept multilateral verification.
Your fight is our fight. 2017 will be the year of offense.
Are we going to see another pandemic before we are able to beat this one?
Well, we'll have another pandemic.
Biological research facilities, which, in fact, we are now quite concerned Russian troops, Russian forces may be seeking to.
You're good looking. Like in movie. It pays the rent.
And yes, we've seen it's very possible to get elected through playing up divisions and negativity. And that happens, and it's a tried and true path. One of the things that I feel is that once you get elected through dividing people, it becomes very hard to then govern responsibly for everyone. And you can't just keep scaring people and hope to move the world forward.
Classic Russian technique to blame on the other guy what they're planning to do themselves.
There are terrible things in the world, terrible people who want to attack our free and open societies.
All of us will go back to Washington and we will push the case against Russia.
For the passports, it's supposed to end in a month from now on April 11th. So they, they still, one more month in BC. And I've, of course, heard down the pipeline a couple times that, a federal mandate is then going to replace it. So dropping the provincial mandates or territory mandates, it doesn't matter. It's all part of the plan. And then the federal mandate will be in there, and I still won't be able to leave Canada. I was just telling my mom earlier, like, I have a motorcycle engine that I built 2 years ago in Oregon, USA. And I'm just like, when am I ever going to get back? 2 years ago, I'm like, okay, I'll get back to racing. I keep talking to my buddy Sage. I'm like, eventually I'll get over the border and I can come grab my engine and get back to my life. But honestly, it doesn't seem like this is ever going to happen at this point.
I will state it again, just to make sure that people understand that we're not doing entertainment here. We're not trying to make more viewers in order, I don't know what kind of a business is YouTube and increasing the viewers and being interesting. I don't want to be interesting. I already have 2 children. I don't want to marry again. I don't want to be Elvis Presley, people loving me. I don't need all of this. And I'm not sure I'll carry on being the so-called star on YouTube with Marcel Irnie. I want to tell you very straight this. We're not doing entertainment. We are pushing the red button saying, alarm, alarm, alarm. Very dangerous. These guys are preparing a new, worse, and demonic pandemic. I don't know if they are based on a real facts or they are just saying we bombed some labs in Ukraine, so obviously there were some viruses in the air, so obviously you should stay home, you should be in the next pandemic. But Emmanuel Macron of France said what will be the worst is about to come, and that happened in the last 2 weeks. Bill Gates keeps saying the new pandemic will come. Our Romanian politicians, they are preparing the crisis situations, voted in parliament.
When has the whole world ever agreed upon what it's doing right now? The nations in all of history that I would imagine have never worked together in solemn, so crazy amounts. The whole globe is on this vaccine. The whole globe is on the pandemic. Just that alone, having the agreements between the whole globe, should put up some crazy red flags.
Yeah. Now it's time to ask ourselves, who is on our side anymore? I mean, the politics spectrum is not our side anymore. This is completely lost. Period. Dead. Completely dead. Secret services, no. I mean, probably some guys getting tired of what they see. Journalism, media, oh, come on, this is completely bullshit. They are not on our side. Doctors, medical doctors, they keep their mouths shut, and they've been accomplished to this because they've been paid. They got a lot of money saying you have COVID, you have coronavirus, you have this. So I wonder who is on our side from now on. Nobody.
Yeah, all the citizens have no backup, worldwide, essentially.
Yeah. Hello there.
Hey, Romeo, it's Marcel from Canada.
Yeah. Yes, this is Romeo from whatever.
From whatever?
Yeah.
Is that going to be the new title, Romeo from wherever?
Yes, because I'm teasing the viewers because they know I'm from Romania. Yeah.
I read a lot of comments. People are really digging your music and your jokes for sure, and your characters. What was the last character from Ukraine?
Who this is? Who this is, ёб твою мать? Oh, hello. Hello. I am Borislav. Yes. I'm from Ukraine. How are you? Where are you? People, do you listen to me? Yes, I'm from Ukraine. You have seen on TV. There is a huge country and has a neighbor, a small country called Russia. Yes. Listen, guys. Borislav here. I'd like to tell you something. I have a passion.
The last character, yes. What, Borislav?
Borislav, that's right. Yeah, he's going to be. Borislav's going to be famous. So today is what, March 11th, 2022, and we're going to talk a little bit about everything, not just Ukraine and Russia, but how the world tyranny, the globalism, the fascist control with the banks and the injections and the passports and the smart city and the CBDCs are going to all affect us. And so we're going to cover a wide variety of topics, everybody. And so Romeo, where do you want to start off?
I will start with this. Starting from today, things are changing dramatically. And you might, some of your viewers, some of the listeners might say, you know, we have Tucker Carlson speaking very loud and clear. We have Joe Rogan speaking loud and clear. Who is this guy, Romeo? Who is this former motorbiker or active motorbiker, Marcel Irnie? And who are they to teach us what to do? But anyone has the choice. So if you choose to listen to what I'm saying, it's all right. If you choose not to listen, it's all right as well. And that's it. Listen, we are entering, and I'm speaking very serious now. We are entering in the new era, in a new period, and what happened in the so-called pandemic in last 2 and something years, was a kindergarten rehearsal compared with what is going to happen. I'm not joking at all. Listen, let's go to Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. This guy just switched it in the last few days, saying that no more NATO, is not prepared, and NATO is not prepared to receive Ukraine's in NATO and things like that. And I provided you a video and you published it. I was saying that the guys from the United States and other entities, they got scared by being disclosed with their labs in Ukraine and things like this. And we had that satisfaction that we found out something very, I don't know, secret. And the fight is equal. And they fight, we find the truth. But today I read the material. I read some stuff that simply blown me up. Putin disclosed labs on the Ukraine's territory. And we might think that there are evil guys, the Western guys, I mean, United States and the other guys with NATO. And the angel is Putin, and Putin is somehow suffering of injustice from the worldwide and something like that. But this is not real, because I found out that China, Russia, and United States and the other guys, they have a lot of labs all over the world in small countries, and Ukraine is just a nest, one nest of all of those nests of labs.
Really?
And
so you're saying, because I read China wants the U.S. to disclose about the biolabs in Ukraine, like everybody wants transparency.
Over the past 2 decades, the United States has been blocking the establishment of a verification regime to the Biological Weapons Convention and refused to accept the inspection of biological facilities within and outside its borders. The move has further aggravated the concern of the international community. We once again urge the US to provide full clarification of its biomilitarization activities within and outside its borders and accept multilateral verification.
So everybody is interested, China, Russia, United States, to keep the secret on these bio weapons. Where this started? Can you hear me?
Yeah, just take a break. My coffee machine is just speaking to me right now. Okay.
Come on, don't tell me your coffee machine.
His name's Philip, and he always likes to interject. Even when I was live with those guys at rtNews or whatever out of Washington, D.C., then, of course, Philip just starts speaking in the background.
Yeah, where did this start? It started in Wuhan, isn't it?
Sure, absolutely, but don't say that word too many times. It'll be censored.
Probably it started in Yuhu.
Yeah, there you go.
All right?
Yeah.
Good. And what happened? Maximum 1 month later, after starting in W in China, I saw articles and I heard voices saying that, there was military Olympics organized on the China's territory.
Yeah, of course.
And United States sent some military Olympics. I mean sportsmen.
Yeah, yeah.
But military sportsmen, and they already arrived on the China's territory, being sick with a virus.
There was actually I can remember, it was so long ago, but there was information saying that
it's so long, and the people forgot completely about that.
That they were actually sick,
anyway.
And of course everybody's coming from the whole world, just like the Olympics military.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is that if we focus on that moment in China W city, we're talking we're talking scandal magazines. This is not the way to find out what is going on. The problem is that those guys, they have labs all over the world. I mean, China has its own labs. Russia has its own labs, and they get to the next level. I mean, no more nuclears, no more nukes, no more rockets. We are dealing with bioweapons. And why am I keep telling and repeating that we are entering now in a new, very demonic period? because all of those guys, I mean, WHO, yes,
The
World
WHO
Health
and the
Organization.
CDC, yeah.
Yes, those guys are in the pole position to start the new rhetoric on the new pandemic. You know, Emmanuel Macron of France, just said 2 weeks ago, what's the worst is just about to beginning. And nobody notices why Macron said it's about to begin, the worst is about to begin. Then Bill Gates keeps saying all the time there will be a new pandemic.
I know a topic that you've spoken on again and again. You were ahead of the curve prior to the beginning of this pandemic.
You know, it's sad. We didn't do a great job on therapeutics. You know, only here 2 years in do we have a good therapeutic. Vaccines, it took us 2 years to be in oversupply. Today, there are more vaccines than there is demand for vaccines. And, you know, that wasn't true. And next time we should try and make it, instead of 2 years, we should make it more like 6 months, which certainly, you know, some of the standardized platform approaches, including mRNA, would allow us to do that. So, you know, it took us a lot longer this time than it should have.
And people said, oh, you know, Bill Gates puppeteer, Macron is an idiot, and he says this just to look nice in the front of the women.
Yeah, and I could probably find the footage of Bill Gates. Yeah, he says there's going to be another pandemic, of course, and it's going to be a new pathogen, you know, something else.
Yeah.
What's your greatest concern at this time in terms of combating COVID-19 and the potential for another pandemic? Are we going to see another pandemic before we are able to beat this one?
Well, we'll have another pandemic. It will be a different pathogen next time. We'll have some rebound. This pathogen, we don't have a tool to do eradication. We'd like to have a new generation of vaccines that would be suitable. I mean, ideally, we'd get rid of families of respiratory viruses, including the flu family and the coronavirus family. And I do think in the next decade we can come up with an eradication vaccine. That's an aspiration, not a guarantee, but we should put R&D dollars into that. There's already a lot of work that's been done on a universal flu vaccine, and the data on that looks very promising.
And now we have to answer the question, why are they saying that? Because what happened in Ukraine, the war, they said Putin targeted United States labs on the Ukraine's territory. And when they said that, in the same time, they agreed that Putin managed to bomb some laboratories. If you bomb laboratories in real time, of course you will have viruses spread all over the world with cholera, with whatever. You know, I like to tell a joke someone like this. You know, when you are about to be hanged, and you have the rope around your neck, you're not interested what studies or what color of the eyes has the guys that will hang you. You know?
Yeah, you're not paying attention to little things. Yeah.
Yeah. So when they say that they have a lot of viruses processed in those labs, and the labs have been blown up, you're not interested what kind of a virus escaped in the world, because it's the same deadly, is as well deadly as the other.
Well, let me jump in there. Let me jump in there with some information for the people, because a lot of people haven't seen or heard about. In fact, when I was on the Canada marches, I had one of the team ask me about the biolabs. It's like, Marcel, can you tell me about the biolabs? And like, do you know if they're actually real? Like, what do you know besides talk?
Careful now. You're going in reverse. You're gonna reach the top speed of 6 kilometers.
That's right. I gotta start hustling.
We're gonna give you a co-pilot to tell you hard right, hard left.
So I just got off the phone with New York. They canceled the story on fuel But I told him, like, dude, you should start researching the James Top and the team. So he's looking into it. So maybe we'll get New York to do a story.
Nice. New York, eh?
More awareness.
Right on.
The Americans.
Thank you.
What are you? Look at you. I'll take one of those for sure. All right, let's do it. Oh, here comes the race cars. They're coming up around the corner.
Here they come. Let's give them a cheer.
It's so funny. It's like we're at a racetrack cheering on the racers. The race across Canada.
Here they come, you guys. Hello.
Look, you guys got some fans.
Hello, hello, hello. Hey.
Hello, hello.
Hi.
How are you? Can we help you?
Oh, hey. guys, not much to get to some. Wow, thank you.
What do you got? Some treats there, huh?
Yes, of course.
Oh, nice.
What's your name? We only have one. Oh, hi. Nice to meet you. I'm James.
If they're actually real, like, what do you know besides talk? And so I can interject with Tori Newland.
Tori Newland is now Joe Biden's Undersecretary of State in charge of Ukraine, and she knows a lot about Ukraine. In 2014, Tori Newland engineered a coup in Ukraine in the name of democracy, of course. So she is a highly informed source about Ukraine. So she was having this colloquy with Senator Marco Rubio of Florida during her testimony.
She explicitly said, when asked if Ukraine had biological weapons, she said, Ukraine has biological research facilities, and she is quite concerned about Russian forces maybe seeking to gain control of their research materials falling into the hands of Russian forces. So she said that under oath.
He asked Newland if Ukraine had biological weapons. We never imagined Ukraine would have biological weapons. Why would Ukraine have bioweapons? So it seemed like a pretty strange question. But it wasn't half as shocking as the answer he got. Watch what Tori Newland said.
Does Ukraine have chemical or biological weapons?
Ukraine has biological research facilities, which, in fact, we are now quite concerned Russian forces may be seeking to gain control of. So we are working with the Ukrainians on how they can prevent any of those research materials from falling into the hands of Russian forces should they approach.
Oh. Does Ukraine have biological weapons? Ukraine has biological research facilities. What? You mean secret biolabs? Like the secret biolabs Ukraine definitely doesn't have? Ukraine has those? Yes, it does. And not only does Ukraine have secret biolabs, Tori Newland said, whatever they're doing in those labs is so dangerous and so scary that she is, quote, quite concerned that the so-called research material inside those biolabs might fall into the hands of Russian forces. Try not to use profanity on the air to describe our reaction. Our jaws drop. Let's leave it there. Under oath in an open committee hearing, Tori Newland just confirmed that the Russian disinformation they've been telling us for days is a lie and a conspiracy theory and crazy and immoral to believe is in fact totally and completely true. In the face of that evidence, the Pentagon is still lying about it. And in fact, they're repeating the same unbelievably stupid and now thoroughly discredited lies the fact checkers have told for weeks now. Here's the spokesman for the Pentagon, John Kirby, today.
The Russian accusations are absurd. They're laughable. And, you know, in the words of my Irish Catholic grandfather, a bunch of malarkey. There's nothing to it. It's classic Russian propaganda, and I wouldn't, if I were you, I wouldn't give it a drop of ink worth paying attention to.
Yeah, but can you explain to us has there been any relationship between the?
We are not developing biological or chemical weapons inside Ukraine. It's not happening.
If I were you, I wouldn't devote a drop of ink to it. First of all, you didn't get to make that decision, Mr. Bureaucrat. We have a free press in this country. You don't get to decide. But you'll notice at the end of that, Kirby refuses to answer the question. Has there been a relationship between the U.S. Pentagon and a bioweapons facility in Ukraine? And if so, what is that relationship? That's Russian disinformation. What's the answer? We're not developing WMD in Ukraine right now. Okay, got it. But why are we funding this, and what exactly are we funding? We reached out to the State Department separately, and they provided us with this very carefully worded statement. Quote, the U.S. Department of Defense does not own or operate biological laboratories in Ukraine. Not that anyone said they did. Continuing the quote, Under Secretary Nuland was referring to Ukrainian diagnostic and biodefense laboratories during her testimony, which are not biological weapons facilities. What's the difference exactly? Continuing the quote, these institutions counter biological threats throughout the country. End quote. So that means nothing. You could describe our nuclear stockpile correctly as defensive.
And then, of course, you know, there's a few other things. In 2011, there was a report of the Odessa laboratories, so Odessa, Ukraine, from the U.S. National Academy of Sciences, and I'm just going to quote, ... is responsible for the identification of especially dangerous biological pathogens.
Then the National Pulse dug up a 2011 report from the U.S. National Academy of Sciences that also explained that the Odessa-based laboratory, quote, is responsible for the identification of especially dangerous biological pathogens. So what we're doing, this is not the first time you've heard this story, we are funding the creation of deadly pathogens so we can study them and prevent people from getting infected with them, maybe? There are lots of examples of this.
And also the Defense Department Press Center, U.S. Senator Dick Lugar, he said he applauded the opening of the interim Central Reference Laboratory in Odessa, Ukraine this week, announcing that it will be instrumental in researching dangerous pathogens used by the bioterrorists. The Level 3 Biosafety Lab will be used to study anthrax, tularemia, and Q fever, as well as other dangerous pathogens. So there's naming a few.
U.S. Senator Dick Lugar applauded the opening of the interim Central Reference Laboratory in Odessa, Ukraine this week, announcing that it will be instrumental in researching dangerous pathogens used by bioterrorists. The Level 3 Biosafety Lab will be used to study anthrax, tularemia, and Q fever, as well as other dangerous pathogens. Oh, okay.
Referring to Ukrainian diagnostic and biodefense laboratories, you know, and so they never, you know, they're like, oh, we use them for defense. Yeah, right? That's never how it goes. Anyways, continue, bud.
Yeah, now we have to get back a little bit and see how the mainstream media react to Putin's statements, disclosures about being labs on the Ukraine's territories. The whole mainstream media said, "Oh, come on, this is a conspiracy theory. This is fake news. This is." Until the moment that Victoria Nuland came up under the oath, as you said, and she declared, "Yes, we have labs there."
Yeah.
And then silence, completely silence.
I mean, they didn't expect her to get that question, you know, and then she's under oath and she said it.
Yes. We know, but we don't have, we have to stay focused because if you want, you can make a landing page for your viewers to read the entire material that explains with data, with the name of the people and things like this. I mean, strong information about all of this, because we have to focus now to help the viewers to understand that they are preparing a worse pandemic. I mean, when I say worse, I don't mean people will die and people will suffer because some kind of a virus or something like that. They are preparing people to be scared about some viruses escaped from the Ukrainians' laboratory. And if you prepare the mankind beings completely, hugely scared,
fear-mongering.
then you have all the freedom, you have the entire freedom to say now is pandemic, now wear mask, now stay at home, now do this. But we already got used to it, so they have to come up to something new and freakier.
So you are suggesting, because they keep mentioning on mainstream media, dinosaur media, that, oh my God, they're bombing the biolabs. You know, they could be releasing, they could be releasing these pathogens to the public, and now our armies are in there. Well, when I break it down using common sense, when you throw a freaking huge bomb onto a building, I think that would absolutely destroy everything with fire and heat. So just thinking out loud, I would imagine if you hit a lab with a freaking missile, everything is exterminated, including pathogens. Would you not estimate?
No. In real terms of, I'm not a specialist in genetic, I'm not a specialist in viruses, but listen, when we talk about the viruses in general and about modified viruses as a particular, we have to admit that those viruses are already prepared to resist to. So, okay, you will burn some viruses with a rocket, but for sure, I don't know, some viruses will be out in the air.
Well, also because, I mean, when we break it down, it doesn't really matter. You could bomb a place with a virus.
It doesn't matter.
But the virus is still in their back pocket, and they release it over here at the military games. It doesn't matter. It's all just, you know, imagery. That's all.
And that happened all the time in the last 50 years, isn't it?
Well, we typically call them false flags. Rocket fuel doesn't burn steel of buildings because it's ASTM rated to withstand rocket fuel on fire, right? I mean, Pearl Harbor, it's just all instigations of war. It's an instigation of the bankers' money roll, and we can get into that a little bit about essentially lending money for private reserves. Like the Federal Reserve is a private company with shareholders, and so is Britain's banks. It's all just private. It's just putting, and Canada all of a sudden entered that thanks to Trudeau Sr. when he put us into trillions of debt, more than the initial debt to start with, just because of interest.
Yeah. That wouldn't be the worst part of the picture, of this picture. The worst part is that we have to stay focused again. Probably I'm redundant. I'm repeating myself. We have to stay focused. What are their intentions? Their intentions is to suspend the freedom, to suspend the civil rights of the people on the planet. I mean, they need reasons for that. However the reasons, whatever the reasons are real or not, they somehow manage huge organizations in the world, United Nations World Health Organization, that is a real threat, and they should apply the measure for suspending the civil rights and the freedom of the people from the people on the planet. That's the point we're talking about, because the last fake pandemic occurred under these circumstances. I mean, they said, there's a danger, so we have to suspend some civil liberties of yours on the planet.
Yeah, to protect us from
they managed it.
Yeah, a lot has happened in 2 years. It's actually really ridiculous and scary how fast they've moved forward with their plan, as you could say. With the injections, with the passports, and a lot of people are with the 5G, with the smart meters everywhere and the Wi-Fi. That is actually also hurting us, and a lot of people haven't even considered that aspect, as well as the slavery of the system of the banks. We've been under slavery of the corporations for the entirety of when corporations were invented and created.
Strictly from the human point of view, I'd like to ask you: shouldn't we be, you as a Canadian, me as a Romanian, those guys from Ukraine as the Ukrainians, and the rest of the world, shouldn't we be really tired after 2 years of madness? Shouldn't we be? I think yes, isn't it?
I mean, that's why people are going in the streets and for freedom and protesting and have protests in the streets. But so yeah, we're all really tired of it. But I mean, not all of us.
Listen, I'm not using the expression "I am tired" in terms I had enough. I'm using the expression being tired, like you feel like laying down and having a good sleep. I mean, we as humans are pretty tired in terms of exhaust. We are exhausted. Mm-hmm. So, giving those circumstances, I mean, we are exhausted after 2 years of craziness and madness. Listen, we are about to enter in a new era, worse than those 2 years, because these guys are saying, you know, we bumped some blabs and we lost some viruses. There will be a worse pandemic. We will stay on in your back, and you will feel our hot breath in your back of the head. And listen, it's unbearable anymore. And the sad and the very sad thing is that we as civilians, we do not have such an organization and something, we don't have the power. I mean, how many weapons should Americans have in Texas, California, and other states in order to oppose to those crazy guys? No, this is not possible. We will be smashed every time. I mean, I have no hope in fighting directly with these guys. I have no hope. I mean, the best attitude is to get away, to go in the forest, in the mountains, to try to survive, because those guys are evil and they are completely crazy. They started a fight against humanity.
Humble person here in my RV. Yes. On the city of Kelowna. I am allowed to be here.
Failing to comply with the Motor Vehicle Act of British Columbia.
I don't know where it's going on my front plate. It should be right on there.
Okay, come look.
I'm not getting outside so you can do some unlawful, unjust things, because the way you're acting, that's what you plan to do or wish you could do.
Okay, that's great. So when you post
what is your name?
YouTube,
what is your name?
A lawyer can give you.
Can you tell me what this guy's name is, guys?
I couldn't tell you.
You don't know what this officer's name is.
So you can have my name when you get out of the vehicle. We can look at your plate and deal with this like adults.
Yeah, fuck you, dude.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
So you're giving me the middle finger on your YouTube video.
Yeah, because you deserve it. You deserve it.
I deserve it. Okay.
The way I didn't come and bug you. I didn't come and bug you. You came over here, knocked on my door very loudly.
Very loudly. Was that aggressive, perhaps?
Well, those doors are very thin. You probably knocked on a lot, so it sounds really loud.
You enjoy your little commentary. The tow will be here, and we'll get you moved. And then at that time, I'm sure you're going to change your behavior. And then you're going to provide me your ID, and we'll get you to install your plate so that you're lawful, and then you can be on your way. Yeah. But if you'd like to be difficult, I can write you a ticket for having a plate that's not visible from the rear of your vehicle, and another one for the front of your vehicle. And then if you fail to provide me your identification, that's another offense. Okay,
fuck you, dude. You're a piece of shit. This is what we got for fucking cops here. What a dickhead, huh? Because I got the Canadian flags on the back. Fucking officer. Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you!
And we're talking about very, very real now. We're talking about something very real when we're talking now. I mean, they are trying to tell us you will start again with this bullshit.
And in Canada and a lot of the world, the examples are very prevalent with there is always too many people that are complicit, in, like the police or possibly the military. And so the civilians are just, it's so hard for us to rise up. And
why is Canada different?
Well, I think it comes down to a conception of what you think leadership is all about. I mean, every person has competing instincts in us. We're good people, we want to be good, we want to be nice to our neighbors, we want to be open and respectful of everyone, but at the same time we know that there are scary things in the world and we need to be careful and protective. And the question around leadership is, which one do you build on? Which one do you enhance? And yes, we've seen it's very possible to get elected through playing up divisions and negativity. And that happens, and it's a tried and true path. One of the things that I feel is that once you get elected through dividing people, it becomes very hard to then govern responsibly for everyone. And you can't just keep scaring people and hope to move the world forward. So the choice we made was to try and call on the better angels of people's natures, to use a great Lincoln line. Let's believe that we can be better and give people the tools and create high expectations. And so far we've done well.
You know, it's so hard for us to rise up and peacefully or other to fight against the tyranny of our own government like Trudeau, and in the US, you know, the Biden regime and the NATO regime and the UN regime. You know, how many people in France started fighting back, literally fighting in France with their fists against the police? Never happened in Canada. We were peaceful. But it just shows how there's too many people complicit. There's too many people that don't think for themselves, and they're the ones that allow these tyrannical orders to go through on us, and it's really sad.
Listen, unfortunately, but on the contrary, fortunately, there are two types of people on the planet. The people that read the newspapers and look at the mainstream media or alternative media, but this is the information they get. And the other people, those guys who work in the secret services. I mean Mossad, I mean CIA, NSA, MI5, former KGB, FSB, Romanian civil. All right. Listen, what do you consider that all those strong explosive information, all that the explosive information shown up, appeared on the planet, helping normal people like me and like you and like your mother and my mother and son. Listen, some guys in the secret services, no matter where, I mean, in United States, in Russia, in MI5 in Britain, and they understood that things are going too far. I mean, they said, all right, now we're dealing with the economists, we try to take our part and we fight this. Or some guys in our profession will die and nobody will know that they died. And all right, but now there is a real danger because those guys are playing with viruses. Those guys are playing with suspending the freedom and.
I think people are open to not choosing to live in constant fear. There are terrible things in the world, terrible people who want to attack our free and open societies. And we have to make a choice about how much we're going to close and limit and crack down within our societies in order to protect it. Because if you do that too much, you lose part of the free and open nature of society. And I have a tremendous level of confidence in ordinary people who go through their lives, don't think a lot about politics, don't think a lot about terrorism, think a lot about their families, about their job, about their future and about their community, and want to see things work in the right way. And yes, one of the primary responsibilities of any government is to keep its citizens safe. But one of the other primary responsibilities is keep us free and true to our values. And getting that balance right in a responsible way, as opposed to a way that raises fears and anxieties, is, I think, what people are looking for.
So there are a lot of leaks now to the so-called journalists, alternative media, like Marcel Irnie, let's say. And these guys from secret services contribute to provide strong information.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I cannot see how what happened in Ukraine has come to the surface with a huge speed. And I mean, first of all, we were facing a war, all right? I mean, Putin shooting people, and then we found out that Putin is not that bad. And then we found out that Biden and his team do demonic things on the Ukraine's territory. And then we found out that Zelensky was a comedian, and things turned upside down.
Коханці, засланці, всім гляньте, тьфу на них, артисти, стилісти, геть з міста, ще дай помади, гей паради, а в раді всі такі, я хочу, не можу, за сало. Ну давай, ось моя булава, браття мої.
Your fight is our fight.
Ваша боротьба – це наша боротьба.
2017 will be the year of offense.
Рік 2017 рік буде ріком нападу.
All of us will go back to Washington and we will push the case against Russia.
Ми всі повернемося до Вашингтону і ми будемо відстоювати санкції проти Росії.
Canada recognizes that we need a global, concerted response to the war on terror, to terrorists specifically. And Canada has an important role to play on a humanitarian side, on a refugee side, and yes, on the military side as well. And such things that can help local troops bring the battle directly towards terrorists.
What's the logic behind this?
Well, the logic behind it is basically that Canada and countries in the world should look at where their competitive advantages are, where they do things very, very well. And over the past 10 years, this is not to take anything away from the excellent fighter pilots that we have in Canada, but over the past 10 years, Canada developed a tremendous level of expertise in training, in intelligence on the ground, in Afghanistan, for example. And we definitely have much to contribute on the helping local militias and local troops be more effective in the direct fight. And if there's one thing that recent history has taught us is that ultimately conflicts like this need to have their resolution on the ground with people who live and want to take their countries back from terrorists.
And that was possible because some guys in the secret services got tired of this, and they realized that their families and their relatives might be in danger.
Yeah, we're all walking into a trap. So this is a good time for me to reach out to Secret Service and FSB you know, these white suits or black suits, but the white suits essentially, to reach out to me, reach out to people, and get us this information so we can make a difference.
Yes, probably they will risk their lives doing this.
Yeah, well, and of course, as you know, I've seen the opposite, right? Remember from France, sending me some PDFs about, like, you know, to cease and assist.
Yeah.
What, I got one from Germany and one from France now, right? Those emails.
Oh yeah. Those letters threatening you.
Yeah, that's right. From
yes,
France and Germany.
I'm waiting. I'm expecting for the Japanese version.
Yeah, so if you're one of these entities, guys, and you're watching, I tell you, fuck off, because we're not paying attention to your emails. I just call you. You're more like spam. So yeah, you don't have to spam.
Those guys when they want to leak something, they are doing it responsible. They are not doing it. I sent you an email if you want to believe it or right. They listen. Again, some viewers, some listeners might say that is a guy from Romania. He made us laugh. Marcel is a very nice guy, but why should we listen to them? But listen. If you make a landing page and allow people listening our conversation to read in details what I'm saying now about the new era, new period of a worse pandemic, fake pandemic, and let them decide through their own will and through their own conscience after reading those that information, because it's an explosive information that made me convince you to call me and have this conversation.
Yeah.
Because I want people to understand. Listen. No matter if they understand we're getting in a new era or they don't understand, anyway, we are getting in the new period of craziness, of madness, worse than the last one. That's the reality.
Indeed, indeed.
And now, I wanna provide you a very an interesting detail. Kamala Harris, the second one after Joe Biden, she was in Romania. I mean, she is in Romania. One of these days, she is in Romania, visiting Romania. You know, Romania being a colony, an American colony. Yeah, we have NATO, so-called NATO troops in Romania, but they are American, not another nation. So, listen, the ex-prime minister in Romania, an idiot, he said, you know, we have a project of crisis or crisis situation entering the parliament, and it will be debated in the emergency system, and it will be voted. So I was thinking, listen, you just suspended the mandates. I mean the mask and the mandates, and now you are warning us that you will vote a crisis situation in an emergency regime in the Romanian parliament. Why? And this is the reason, because they already have been briefed by the big guys. You know, we are entering a new pandemic worse than the last one, so prepare martial law or something like this. Put the people in their boxes.
And they trained us, and we've been trained to know what to expect in the emergency, as well with the pathogens and the masking. And yeah, it's like we went to school for tyranny, right? And we're getting into grade 2 pretty soon. And so yeah, a lot of people just, you know, they think, oh, life's going to get back to normal here. Like, oh, good. They're taking the masks. You know, the masks were just lifted today in BC. I just did a story on the YouTube channel with Bonnie.
In Romania, on the 9th of March happened that.
Okay, so this happened.
They suspended the mask.
And this happened. And then the mandates for the passports is supposed to end in a month from now on April 11th. So they still, one more month in BC. And I've, of course, heard down the pipeline a couple times that, you know, a federal mandate is then going to replace it. So dropping the provincial mandates or territory mandates, it doesn't matter. It's all part of the plan. And then the federal mandate will be in there, and I still won't be able to leave Canada. I was just telling my mom earlier, like, I have a motorcycle engine that I built 2 years ago in Oregon, USA. And I'm just like, when am I ever going to get back? You know, 2 years ago, I'm like, okay, I'll get back to racing. You know, I keep talking to my buddy Sage. I'm like, eventually I'll get over the border and I can come grab my engine and get back to my life. But honestly, it doesn't seem like this is ever going to happen at this point.
I will state it again, just to make sure that people understand that we're not doing entertainment here. We're not trying to make more viewers in order, I don't know what kind of a business is YouTube and increasing the viewers and being interesting. I don't want to be interesting. I already have 2 children. I don't want to marry again. I don't want to be Elvis Presley, people loving me. I don't need all of this. And I'm not sure I'll carry on being a so-called star on YouTube with Marcel Irnie. I want to tell you very straight this. We're not doing entertainment. We are pushing the red button saying, alarm, alarm, alarm. Very dangerous. These guys are preparing a new, worse, and demonic pandemic. I don't know if they are based on real facts or they are just saying we bombed some labs in Ukraine, so obviously there were some viruses in the air. So obviously you should stay home. You should be in the next pandemic. But Emmanuel Macron of France said, what will be the worst is about to come, and that happened in the last 2 weeks. Bill Gates keeps saying the new pandemic will come. Our Romanians, politicians, they are preparing the crisis situations, voted in parliament.
And Biden still has the emergency order in the USA right now. He still has it, right? And he's just waiting for the next thing.
Yeah. Listen, did you and the viewers, did you notice that they made somehow an agreement? I mean, they left Russians to use their own product vaccine, and they left Germans to use their own product vaccine. I mean, all these guys are involved. All the guys said, we have to keep our populations under control, and more than this, to cut out their freedom.
Well,
but we don't want to buy Pfizer to use on my Russians, and we don't want to buy a Russian vaccine to use on my Americans.
When has the whole world ever agreed upon what it's doing right now? The nations in all of history that I would imagine have never worked together in so crazy amounts. The whole globe is on this vaccine. The whole globe is on the pandemic. Just that alone, having the agreements between the whole globe, should put up some crazy red flags.
Yeah. And now it's time to ask ourselves, who is on our side anymore? I mean, the politics spectrum is not our side anymore. This is completely lost, period, dead, completely dead. Secret services, no. I mean, probably some guys getting tired of what they see. Journalism, media, oh, come on, this is completely bullshit. They are not on our side. Doctors, medical doctors, they keep their mouths shut, and they've been accomplished to this because they've been paid. They got a lot of money saying you have COVID, you have coronavirus, you have this. So I wonder who is on our side from now on. Nobody.
The whole world.
Nobody. We are alone.
Yeah, all the citizens have no backup, worldwide, essentially.
Yeah.
Well, we should probably start wrapping down this conversation here. I wanted to briefly go over a couple things. Do you have any opinion on obviously I read Japan on March 8th. They're asking Russia for the South Kuril Islands back. China is accusing NATO of building in the Indo-Pacific region. And then, of course, we have the Taiwan issue of China.
Yeah.
It just starts adding up. So before, everybody's complicit about the vaccine, and now all of a sudden everybody's kind of getting in the mix right now, right?
Yeah, because the topics you just provided to me now, they are blackmails. I mean, I'm not sure that suddenly Japan wants the Kuril Islands. Yeah, but listen. What happened in the past? When Japan got angry at the United States, they have thrown 2 bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and they killed in 30 seconds. They killed 100,000 people in Hiroshima. Do you realize that? 100,000 people in 30 seconds, and then probably after the radiations, they died months later, another 100,000, and I don't know how many. All right. They said to the Japan, now stay calm, all right? And now Japan, it's a small country, yes, it has an economy with electronics and cars and things like this, all right. But Japan is not on its own. So somebody told them, guys, now it's time to tell the Russians, to Putin, that you want Kurils, because we want to blackmail Putin to cut out some of his requests and his demandings, because we you know what I mean? You understand what I mean?
Yeah, well, essentially, people are taking sides, and obviously
Yes,
they're putting all
and
these.
they use Japan as a tool. They use Japan as a tool, as a weapon.
Yeah, and Japan is obviously aligned. I don't know, actually, is Japan aligned again with, you know, the UN or a different sanctity, right? And just like we could talk about Tom Cruise and other actors, they're always aligning with politics, whether they know anything about it or not, right? Like how I have video of Tom Cruise meeting with Zelensky. Let's check it out. Right.
I'm very well. Pleasure for me. You're good looking. Like in movie, it pays the rent.
Yes, many years. Yes, many years. They didn't roll Valkyria. Now I hear you mixed a film in Los Angeles. Yes, we can.
You know, and we know. What's your opinion on you know, on a few things like this, on how they're using Hollywood to then brainwash us even more?
Yes, for those actors, the common language is money. I mean, what do you want me to say, and how are you able to pay for what I'm trying to, what you ask me to say? Their conversations is like this. What do you know about Ukraine? I don't know. I don't give a shit. Why? Because I'm playing as an actor in very well-paid movies, and I don't give a shit what happens on the planet. But listen, do you like money? Well, of course I like money. So if I ask you to go to Zelensky in Ukraine and shake hand with him and stay, and we take some shots, and we present you as supporting Zelensky for this money. All right, good. So speak to my agent.
For sure. Yeah, and Tom Cruise, Tom Cruise shook his hand in the video, and then he's like, "Oh, you're really handsome," and he's like, "Well, it pays the bills. Like, right now, it's paying the bills in Ukraine, right?" Oh, what an asshole, right?
And that, Marcel, and that describes Tom Cruise and Liam Neeson and Sting and other actors as completely idiots.
Yeah, and the one with
Those
Spotify
guys
too.
are idiots.
And the other guy who was on, you know, taking his music off of Spotify because of Joe Rogan or politics is another example. I also forgot to mention a couple things I wanted to interject with. But Lindsey Graham, back in 2016, Lindsey Graham was in the Ukraine, and he's on video saying, "Your fight is our fight." This is in 2016, Romeo, and he said in 2017.
I saw the video.
Yeah,
I saw the video. Yes,
he said 2017 is the year of offense on Russia, and Tucker Carlson mentioned this as well. He's like, "What does that even mean?" I mean, this Ukraine thing goes back. They've been actually, what do you call it, denouncing Putin, they've always been vilifying Putin for the last decade. You know, this is all leading up to what they've done. Everything is in a pattern, from the injections, the passports, 5G, smart cities, and the bankers. And, you know, it just goes around in a circle.
As far back as 2016, Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, hysterical little Lindsey Graham, was jumping around, acting out his war fantasies in front of foreign soldiers in Ukraine. If we saw this tape at the time, we don't remember seeing it. Back in 2016, Ukraine seemed like a faraway place. We should have paid more attention. Here it is.
Your fight is our fight.
Ваша боротьба – це наша боротьба.
2017 will be the year of offense.
2017 рік буде ріком нападу.
All of us will go back to Washington and we will push the case against Russia.
Ми всі повернемося до Вашингтону і ми будемо відстоювати санкції проти Росії.
Enough of a Russian aggression.
Досить вже російської агресії.
It is time for them to pay a heavier price.
Your fight is our fight? That's a very strange thing for an American lawmaker to say to a foreign military. Why would the Ukrainian government's fight in 2016 possibly be our fight? On what grounds is it our fight? What does that even mean? We don't know. And yet now it is demonstrably true. Ukraine's fight is our fight. Ukraine's war is our war. It's here, but most Americans did not see that coming. Yet permanent Washington certainly did.
And even the funny thing is that to go back to Tory Newland, who is the one on oath that admitted that biolabs are there.
If there's a biological or chemical weapon incident or attack inside of Ukraine, is there any doubt in your mind that 100% it would be the Russians that would be behind it?
There is no doubt in my mind, Senator, and it is classic Russian technique to blame on the other guy what they're planning to do themselves.
Okay, just get a pen. It's a classic Russian technique to blame on the other guy what they are planning to do themselves. That's what Tory and Newland.
Yet at the same time, you know, John Kirby, who from the Pentagon goes on and says that's a bunch of malarkey.
A bunch of malarkey. There's nothing to it. It's classic Russian propaganda.
So she physically says under oath that there is biolabs, and then the Pentagon releases a video of John Kirby. I mean, his last name says it all. He's like Kirby, the big, you know, white ball in the video games, right, that jumps around. He says, it's a bunch of malarkey. That's absolutely false. Of course, he's not under oath at that very time. It's just a bunch of bullshit. They just bullshit you and they trick a lot of people.
A bunch of malarkey.
Mr. President Irnie.
Yeah.
Mr. President Irnie, are you there? All right. I have two insights for you.
Yeah.
The point one and the point two. Listen to me. Do you remember the word Maidan? Maidan? What is Maidan for you?
Maidan? Nothing. I don't know.
Bunch of malarkey.
Listen, when the Americans and the European Union started to split the Ukrainian population half in the favor of European values and half in the favor of Ukrainian and Russian values, they invented that public manifestation in Kiev called Maidan. I mean, they were in the street, they were shouting, they had flags, and they say, all right, European Union, we need democracy, we need, all right? Do you know who was in that square in Kiev at that time? I mean, many, many years ago.
Why don't you tell us,
Romeo? It was Victoria Nuland on the street.
Oh, you mean Tory Newland?
Yeah.
Tory Newland.
Her name is Victoria.
Oh.
We the Romanians, we see the press. The press is her completely name is Victoria.
And a lot of people don't know, but they said it in themselves that she was involved in organizing the 2014 coup in Ukraine. It all goes around in a circle, right?
Yes, she was in the square amongst mixed up with Ukrainians.
Supremacists or neo-Nazis here connecting through social media online with like-minded individuals overseas, and in some cases actually traveling overseas to train.
The symbols of one of SS division during the World War II. It is one of more or less usual symbols for neo-Nazi groups all over the world.
Just like Freeland, probably, the little backbone of Canada.
Yeah, and now, the point to Mr. President Irnie is that what I don't understand. Listen, I'm a Romanian. Okay, I speak bad English. I have opinions. I want to know what is going on with me and my family in the world. All right, but listen to me. I'm completely blocked and I'm completely puzzled and confused about if you are Carlson Tucker and you go on a live audience, a huge live audience, saying that our fight, your fight is our fight.
Oh, yeah, Lindsey Graham, yeah.
Lindsey Graham. When you present Lindsey Graham saying that many years ago in
16, yeah, 8 years ago.
16, all right.
Or 6 years ago.
Why the Americans, listen, there are Americans listening our conversation now, okay, when you publish this. Why the Americans were not in the street with the guns in their hand? Why the Americans didn't make a revolution going on the real revolution, not that one in the Capitolium, delivery saying, "Are you crazy, Lindsey Graham? Are you crazy? You're involving us in a war. As a crazy man, you are." Where are the Americans? What are they doing on their territory when they see what Tucker Carlson presents to them? They are waiting the elections, the next elections, to win Donald Trump. Come on, it's too late. Until Donald Trump comes to win the elections, the entire world will be dead.
Yeah, I mean, they don't know. People don't know what to do. They don't really know the outlets to do besides listening to podcasts and having opinions. People just don't know how to help. Yeah, I mean, like to get this through to the audience is like things are really serious. Every day, tension escalates, and you know, whether it's bioweapons, false flags, or actual nuclear weapons. We all know Russia has the best technology, or this is what I'm told anyways, and from learning that Russia has the latest technology with nuclear weapons that they can, and Putin said if he gets hit by any nuclear weapon, he doesn't respond to where the weapon came from, where the missile was launched from. He responds to the USA and the UN, specifically the USA targets. It's like, so.
Listen, at the end of the day, the whole pictures look like this. We are in a neighborhood, and we have three gangs fighting for occupying their territories. All right? Probably some gang has a good PR and a good relationship with the neighborhood. He's a good guy, but at the end of the day, he's a tax collector. The other guy is not that good. So we have we have China, we have Russia, and we have United States, and probably we have the bunch of the Western countries. I mean, Germany, Italy, France, Great Britain, and things like this. So all of these guys are evil. I mean, the leadership, not the nations.
Yeah, of course, it's
all
always
like we cannot choose. We really cannot choose a good guy or a bad guy. Or this is no. All of them, they started a very visible war against humanity. And if I were an American, and if I heard Lindsey Graham saying, "Your fight is my fight," I would have considered myself and my family completely and definitely threatened by Lindsey Graham. And I would have done something about it. And I'm a Romanian in a small country in the Eastern Europe area.
You could compare it to anything. What about Iraq? What about Afghanistan? It's the same thing, but just same but different. And people, you know, was there biological weapons in Ukraine? In Iraq? Obviously not. Again, it was another false flag attack, so they could do what they do all the time to these countries. Take countries' resources, create war, create money, create chaos, and this has been going on forever, since the Romans, you know what I mean? It's a freaking circus that goes around and around where you take over countries and do your shit, right?
You know, I have a sort of patience, and my patience during my life said, you know, guys, as long as you leave me, take my children to the kindergarten, as long as you leave me going in a market, do some shopping and do some holidays in Greece or I don't know where, all right, you do your business, and I'll pretend I don't see what you're doing. But they changed the philosophy.
Yeah, they make it a worldwide story. It's a worldwide story.
They asked us to stay home, to wear masks. They killed people in the hospitals, introducing oxygen in their lungs, pretending they want to cure them, and they killed people with oxygen. And now we are under attack. This is the title of your video, Romeo from Romania. We are under attack with the mankind. And we know who the attackers are. We definitely know who the attackers are. We can point the finger on them. You are the attackers, we are the attacked people. That's reality.
Well,
at the end of the day.
On that note, the information we were talking about for the so-called pandemic and how it all affects us, I'll put some of it in the description. I'll put a link and I'll post it in my YouTube community. Hopefully I can post the whole thing in there and you can go take a read. So I'll have the link in the description. I'll find somewhere to post it, guys, whether it's a community or...
It is our duty, you, Marcel, me, Romeo from Romania, to provide to the viewers that small document with information, because otherwise we might look like Waldorf and Statler from Muppets Show.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
we'll do it. Also,
and my wish of mine is to look like those two elderly guys in the Muppets Show when speaking about those serious things.
Well, you can be Bert and I can be Ernie. We're gonna say goodbye to Romeo, and the last footage I'm gonna show everybody is why not show the other side? Let's watch the Russian news from the military give an update about what they say about the biolabs, and so I'm gonna leave you on that. And of course, we all know what the fact checkers say, that's disinformation. But here is Russia saying about the biolabs. Thanks, Romeo. I'll talk to you another day.
All the best. All the best to you.
All right. See you later. Cheers. Thanks, everybody. I'm Marcel Irnie, IrnieracingNews, Irnieracing Reports. Romeo's out of here. Bye.
During the course of the special military operation, facts were uncovered of the Kyiv regime mopping up traces of military biological program under development in Ukraine, financed by the U.S. Defense Ministry.
Okay, so that apparently, we hadn't seen that until this afternoon we started poking around. That may have been the root of the conspiracy theories that the fact checks told us were Russian disinformation.
A bunch of malarkey. There's nothing to it. It's classic Russian propaganda.
Что касается поставок оружия на Украину из-за границы, да, мы видим, насколько опасно действуют сейчас наши западные коллеги, включая Евросоюз, который в нарушении всех своих принципов и ценностей, так называемых, по сути дела поощряет поставки смертоносного оружия на Украину, включая тысячи переносных зенитно-ракетных комплексов, которые на плече могут перемещаться куда угодно, и которые очень часто террористы использовали для того, чтобы создавать угрозы для гражданской авиации. Куда эти тысячи переносных зенитно-ракетных комплексов потом попадут, это вопрос, который мы задаем нашим коллегам в Евросоюзе, когда они проявляют интерес к тому, как положить конец политике, создававшейся в ходе многих лет из Украины угрозу Российской Федерации. Ответа нет, как эти ПЗРК будут затем контролироваться. Поэтому это на долгие годы будет создаваться угрозы, будут создаваться риски для гражданской авиации, и отнюдь не только в украинском небе, они могут расползтись по всей Европе. Ну и что касается вашего вопроса о том, планируем ли мы нападать на другие страны, мы нападать не планируем. Мы на Украину не нападали. На Украине мы просто объяснили многократно. Наступила ситуация, которая создает прямые угрозы безопасности Российской Федерации. Вопреки нашим многолетним напоминаниям, увещеваниям, призывам, предложениям, нас никто не слушал. Президент Путин многократно на эту тему подробнейшим образом высказывался. А те новые факты, которые сейчас вскрываются на освобожденных территориях, в частности в Донецкой и Луганской областях, говорят о том, что нападение-то на эти народные республики планировалось тщательно и планировалось уже вот на нынешний месяц. Ну и, конечно, совершенно возмутительные факты касательно того, чем Пентагон занимается в созданных на его деньги, на деньги Соединенных Штатов, биологических лабораториях, используя украинскую территорию для того, чтобы экспериментировать над патогенами, которые впоследствии могут использоваться для создания биологического оружия. То, что представители Вашингтона публично опровергли слухи, как они говорят, о том, что они занимаются какой-то запрещенной деятельностью на Украине, это неудивительно. То, что Евросоюз тут же в один голос стал говорить, что у Евросоюза нет никаких данных о том, что американцы какой-то военной и биологической деятельностью на Украине занимаются, неудивительно. И то, что сказали представители Организации Объединенных Наций, что у них тоже нет такой информации, это тоже неудивительно. Потому что, конечно же, американцы осуществляли эту свою деятельность в глубокой тайне, точно так же, как они работают и в других государствах постсоветского пространства, создавая свои военно-биологические лаборатории прямо по периметру Российской Федерации, ну и еще Китайской Народной Республики. Поэтому от этого уж точно не отвертеться. Есть конвенция по запрещению биологического и токсинного оружия, и она требует от государств отчитываться о любой деятельности, которую они проводят за пределами своей территории, но и на своей территории тоже. Вот если я правильно понял ваш вопрос, я вот отвечу вам таким образом. Но те, кто накачивает Украину оружием, они, конечно же, должны понимать, что несут ответственность за свои действия. Равно как и те, кто поощряет направление наемников на Украину для того, чтобы воевать в духе вот тех традиций, которые там ультрарадикалы, всякие батальоны внедрили в украинскую повседневную жизнь.